You're watching News 24 Live. I have the rugby panel from Sport 24 alongside me today. Editor Garen Lamley and Chief Writer Rob Howing, where they or we are going to have a stab at guessing the 31-man Springbok World Cup squad, which is set to be announced at 6 o'clock on Friday. Gents, good day. Thanks very much for coming in. 31-man squad, Garen, you were saying off air, we just need to explain to the public exactly why that particular number, 31 players.
Yeah, it is a bit of a strange number. I think 31, obviously not a round number. 15 players in a starting team, on paper it would look like two starting teams plus one other. Truth of the matter is you obviously need 23 for a match day squad, 15 starters, 8 on the bench, and that leaves 8 more. So not every position, will the coach have the luxury of picking 2 in. There are obviously some key specialist positions like scrum half, like in the front row. And then to counter that, you're going to probably end up with like one fullback or, maybe not as many players in certain positions. You're looking for those utility or versatile backline players like a Jesse Creel who can now, as we know, play centre, a bit of on the wing and at fullback, and Patrick Lambie, for example, at fullback and at fly half. So you're looking for those, especially in the backline, that can fill more than one role. So that sort of lets the coach get away with only picking 31, where I'm sure they'd all love more. But 31 is the limit. So barring a couple of injuries, it doesn't leave you with much wriggle room. But good luck to Heineke Meyer trying to narrow this bunch down to 31 players.
Okay, Rob. So you guys on Sport 24, it's your most read article at the moment. You laid out your predicted 31 one-man squad. Then you supposedly got some intel. Some bird tweeted in your ear that what I'm about to read out is very likely to be the final squad. But before I read that out, is there anything you want to add to this sort of pending announcement?
Yes, the squad we put up was one chosen by one of our writers, Herman Mostert. Herman pretty much did a lot of journalists have been doing, which is pick their sort of preferred 31. As we've got closer, I've been working on sort of other angles, and I'm sort of putting my thoughts now more into what I think is going on in Heineke Meyer's mind right now, and what the squad he wants to choose will be. And as you say, we've got some reasonably reliable information that we're going to be sort of 97 or 98% on the button with the squad that we believe Heineke Meyer will reveal on Friday night in Durban. So that's something to keep in mind, and you've got the names in front of you.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll compare the two lists afterwards, but yes, let's start with the forwards. So Tendai Mtawarira, Trevor Nyakani, Yanni du Plessis, Frans Malherbe, Marcel van der Merwe, bracketed with Kuni Oosthuizen. You can explain that later. Bismarck du Plessis, Adrian Strauss, Skalk Brits, Victor Matfield, Peter Steph du Toit, Eben Etzebeth, Loet de Jager, Skalkberger, Francois Lowe, Dwayne Vermeulen, Siya Kolisi, and Willem Alberts. And then in the backs, Farid de Preer, Ruan Pienaar, Rudy Page, Andre Pollard, Pat Lambie, Morné Steyn, Jean de Villiers as captain, Damien de Allende, Jesse Creel, Brian Habana, JP Peterson, Luwazi Mvovo, Zane Kirshner, and Willie Leroux. Garen, the props. This latest list, Marcel van der Merwe, Kuni Oosthuizen, where's the former list? Steven Kitshoff as the additional prop.
Yeah, I believe they're leaning towards Kuni over Marcel van der Merwe. A little bit surprising for me. Kuni hasn't played a lot of rugby of late. He's had a fairly severe neck injury, never good for a front row forward. He does have a bit of versatility to him, front loose head and tight head. He's a fairly good ball carrier. We've seen him rumble over the line from 5 yards out a couple of times in the past. For me, Steven Kitshoff, scrummed fantastically well for the Stormers in Super Rugby this year. He's a former Baby Bok winner. I think he's got a very bright future. Sad that he's now signed for France for next season, but that doesn't rule them out of Springbok selection at least. I think I would have liked to have seen him ahead of Kuni. I think Heineke Meyer, again, a lot of these selections will boil down to his favourites, and I think he is one of his favourites. Having picked him in the past, I think a lot of other coaches probably wouldn't have. But it seems like Kuni's going to get the nod ahead of Steven Kitshoff for the tournament. Okay.
Rob, Siya Kolisi in the new list, Heinrich Brousseau in the old list.
I've got very strong information that Heinrich Brosseau is not going to make the cut.
Okay.
But of course, he had that fairy tale comeback that we didn't expect at all, considering that there was supposedly differences of opinion, however you might want to describe it, between Heineke Meyer and Heinrich Brosseau, which then was quite startlingly sort of subdued when Heineke sort of almost pulled the rabbit out of the hat against the All Blacks, you might remember a few weeks ago, and brought Brosseau back into the mix, and then kept him for another 2 tests. So he got three sort of caps on the trot under a Heineke Meyer regime, which a lot of people didn't think was going to be possible. And perhaps it almost shows a sort of an open-mindedness to the coach that we don't always give him enough credit for. But anyway, my information is that Brosseau is not going to go. Neither, in fact, is Marcel Coetzee, given that he got a relatively minor but still significant knee ligament injury in the Durban game against Argentina. You know, any knee is a tricky thing. He didn't do the full ACL, thank goodness, but he was still involved in a real race against time to be fit for the World Cup. And with so many other players supposedly in more advanced modes of sort of rehabilitation, but you know, in the squad, and not completely sure yet whether they're actually going to make the cut. I think perhaps he was almost too much of a risk because he was really cutting it fine in terms of his kind of prognosis for a return. So no Marcel Coetzee, no Brosseau, but a great opportunity for Siya Kolisi. They did speak in the lead-up week about versatility being a strong sort of factor. And the one thing, a good thing about Kolisi, of course, is that he can play at 6 or 7. He's adaptable, you know, on both flanks. So that's some cause for sort of celebration in a sense. A lot of people will welcome his inclusion because he has shown pretty good skills on previous occasions, albeit mostly off the bench for the Boks. And he could be a little bit of a bolter for South Africa, who knows, if of course he gets into sort of match day squads, which we don't know yet.